Hello, esteemed gentlemen. The most powerful men are the ones you never saw coming. Most people are busy watching the loudest guy in the room, while the quietest one is quietly watching everyone. Now here's a fact. According to modern behavioral psychology, individuals who operate outside traditional dominance hierarchies tend to be more strategic, unpredictable, and uncontrollable. Translation? Sigma males don't just play the game, they quietly rig it. They don't bark, they don't beg, and they definitely don't follow. But somehow, they win. And not just once, repeatedly, silently, like that guy who shows up late to class, says nothing, and still crushes the final exam with a smirk. You're about to discover the 20 brutally unfair, rarely understood advantages that make Sigma males the glitch in the masculine matrix. The guys who break all the rules, yet still end up holding the crown, without ever asking for it. Buckle up, because once you see how the Sigma operates, you'll never unsee it. Number 1. He doesn't respond to status tricks. Sigma males don't respond to status tricks, and that alone sends shockwaves through any room they walk into. Most people are used to flashing their power to get attention. They flaunt expensive cars, name-drop powerful people, overuse titles, or sprinkle in fancy designer brands, hoping someone will be impressed. That works on the average crowd. But not on a Sigma. He doesn't care about the label on your clothes or the title before your name. You could be a CEO or a janitor. He's not swayed. He's watching something deeper. How you move. What you say when no one's listening. Whether your confidence is real or borrowed. And this drives status-obsessed people insane. Because when you've built your entire identity on external recognition and someone walks in who's completely unfazed by it, you start to panic. You start trying harder. You exaggerate more. But it only makes you look weaker. That's the trap the Sigma sets without even trying. By simply not reacting to the usual power moves, he forces people to reveal how much of their worth depends on being admired. And once he sees that, the game is already over. Sigma males aren't anti-success. They just don't equate loud displays with real value. To them, true power is silent. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need applause, and most of all, it doesn't need permission. That's why they're so dangerous in social settings. They destabilize the usual social currency. While others are begging to be liked, the Sigma is busy observing who's addicted to being seen. It's not that he's trying to disrespect anyone. He simply doesn't give fake importance to things that don't hold real substance. And in a world built on perception and pretense, that makes him a walking reset button. People either feel drawn to his quiet authenticity or exposed by it. Either way, the Sigma doesn't flinch. He's not playing the popularity game. He's playing a longer, deeper game where worth isn't worn. It's proven. And if that makes him the outsider in a world obsessed with followers and followers, well, he's more than fine with that. He was never meant to be part of their club. He builds his own and doesn't invite anyone. Number 2, he's the ghost in the algorithm. He's the ghost in the algorithm because he's mastered something most people can't even see, the system behind the noise. While the world is busy performing for likes, chasing trends, and feeding data to the machine, the Sigma male is quietly dissecting it all. He studies how people react, where attention goes, what triggers engagement, and how platforms manipulate behavior. But instead of getting caught in the current like everyone else, he steps back, he watches, he adapts, and then he moves, completely under the radar. This is the guy who knows how to exist online without being of it. You won't see him posting every hour, chasing clout or trying to go viral. That's because he doesn't need to be seen to have power. In fact, he thrives in not being noticed. While everyone else is building a digital version of themselves, the Sigma is using the data they give away to his advantage. He understands the system, so he doesn't have to fight it. He just bends around it. He's the type to know how to disappear from Google search results but still get invited to the meetings that matter. He doesn't need to show up in group chats, social feeds, or online drama to remain relevant. His presence is felt in results, not reactions. His strength comes from subtlety, not spectacle. That's what makes him so dangerous, because you don't know where he is, what he's doing, or what his next move is. Only that he's already made it, and by the time people realize he was ever part of the equation, He's already rewritten the outcome and moved on to the next layer of the system. Quietly, strategically, effectively. He doesn't break the matrix to make a scene. He simply walks through the firewalls like a ghost, untouched, unbothered, and always 5 steps ahead. While others are desperately uploading pieces of themselves for attention, he's learning how to manipulate the very code they're feeding. That's not just power, it's invisible dominance. Number 3. Emotional currency doesn't work on him. Emotional currency doesn't work on him because he's not wired to depend on external validation. Praise doesn't inflate his ego, guilt doesn't bend his will, and seduction doesn't cloud his judgment. Most people are conditioned to respond to those things. Compliment them, and they soften. Guilt trip them, and they cave. Flirt with them, and they lose focus. But not the Sigma male. Those tactics hit a wall with him. They bounce right off, leaving the manipulator exposed, frustrated, and confused. That's where the discomfort begins. Because people are used to being able to move others emotionally, to pull strings, nudge behaviors, and shape outcomes with charm or pressure. But the Sigma male doesn't react on cue. He doesn't give people the emotional feedback loop they rely on to feel powerful. That throws everything off balance. You praise him, and he nods like it's data. You insult him, and he shrugs like it's noise. You flirt with him, and he stays stone-cold logical. Not rude, just immune. This doesn't mean he lacks emotions. Quite the opposite. It means his emotions are private property, not public currency. He doesn't outsource his self-worth to compliments or threats. And when someone's internal world is that secure, they become incredibly difficult to manipulate. You can't gaslight a man who's built his self-awareness in solitude. You can't seduce someone who doesn't crave attention. And you can't guilt-trip someone who knows where your shame ends and their boundaries begin. This emotional independence makes him unpredictable in all the right ways. You can't bribe him, shame him, or sweet-talk him into submission. You can't make him chase you by pulling away. You can't make him feel guilty for walking away from chaos. That frustrates people who depend on emotional manipulation to feel in control. They don't just fail with him, they unravel. Because when your weapons don't work, your illusions fall apart. And that's the Sigma's advantage. He's not emotionally numb, he's emotionally sovereign. And in a world full of people who react to every poke, ping, and push, that kind of self-control is not just rare, it's untouchable. Number 4. He leaves no digital fingerprints. He leaves no digital fingerprints because he understands that in today's world, exposure is vulnerability. While most people are constantly uploading pieces of their lives for validation, locations, opinions, faces, moods, the Sigma male moves like a ghost. Not because he's hiding, but because he's selective. Every photo he doesn't post, every thought he keeps to himself, every platform he avoids, it's all part of a quiet strategy. Control the narrative by refusing to feed it. People confuse visibility with power, but he knows that mystery is leverage. The less you show, the harder it is for people to define you, dissect you, or destroy you. That's the game he plays, strategic invisibility. While others overshare in the name of authenticity, the Sigma keeps his authenticity offline, where it can't be dissected, canceled, or commodified. You might think you know him based on a post or two, but what you're seeing is exactly what he wants you to see, nothing more. He understands that every like, every comment, every digital trace is a breadcrumb for someone else's agenda. Companies track it, governments log it, strangers judge it, enemies weaponize it. So instead of screaming into the void, the Sigma male plays quiet chess in the background, watching, collecting, learning. He uses the internet like a scalpel, precise, calculated, and only when absolutely necessary. And that infuriates people, because in a world addicted to broadcasting, someone who withholds themselves feels threatening. Why won't he share? What is he hiding? The truth is everything, but not out of fear, out of power. He knows that every piece of himself he keeps offline becomes something no one can fake, steal, or manipulate. That's the Sigma's edge. He doesn't need to be seen to be known. He doesn't need to trend to have influence. And while everyone else is busy building digital identities, he's building a real one, quietly, offline, and on his own terms. That's not just privacy, that's digital dominance. Number 5. He's a threat without saying a word. He's a threat without saying a word because his silence isn't empty, it's loaded. It's not passive or shy, it's calculated. While most people fill the air with nervous talk, over-explanations, or forced charm, the Sigma male sits in total stillness, completely at ease in his own presence. That alone unsettles people. His silence forces others to confront their own noise. His calm exposes their chaos. His lack of reaction becomes the loudest message in the room. There's something unnerving about a man who doesn't flinch, especially when tension rises. In arguments, he doesn't explode. In confrontation, he doesn't escalate. He simply stays, watching, absorbing, measuring. That unreadable expression doesn't come from fear or confusion. It comes from discipline, from knowing he doesn't need to prove anything. And that's exactly what makes people nervous. He's not playing the emotional game they're used to. Most people bluff, posture, or lash out when pushed. The Sigma doesn't. Not because he's weak, but because he's far more dangerous when still. His restraint isn't surrender, it's a warning. People feel it even if they don't understand it. It's the tension of knowing this is someone who won't be baited, can't be manipulated, and might be capable of far more than he ever lets on. That kind of energy doesn't need volume. It radiates without effort. He doesn't use threats. He doesn't flex. He doesn't announce consequences. And yet people instinctively back off, because there's something primal in that quiet confidence. It says, I'm not here to impress you, but I am capable of ending this if I choose. That's the scariest kind of power, the kind that doesn't need to speak to be understood. He doesn't bluff because he doesn't need to. He knows exactly what he's capable of, and he's patient enough to let others find out the hard way. His silence isn't weakness, it's loaded with intent, and that makes him more dangerous than any loud, aggressive pretender in the room. Number 6, he doesn't want power, and that's why he gets it. He doesn't want power, and that's exactly why it ends up in his hands. While alphas chase control like it's oxygen, constantly trying to dominate conversations, lead every group, or claim every spotlight, the Sigma male quietly removes himself from the frenzy. He's not interested in ruling others. He's interested in mastering himself. And in that process, he becomes the one everyone ends up turning to when things fall apart. Power chasers are loud, insecure, and easy to predict. They want recognition. They need submission. They feed off being in charge. But that hunger makes them weak, easy to manipulate, easy to provoke, and even easier to dethrone. The Sigma, on the other hand, isn't hungry for control. He's detached from the outcome. And that makes him immune to the very traps that destroy those who crave authority. What unnerves people is how naturally others begin to follow him, even when he doesn't ask for it. It's not charisma. It's presence. It's consistency. It's the way he moves with quiet clarity, without needing validation or attention. In a room full of people trying to lead, the one who doesn't care to be the leader ends up being the one everyone respects most. Because his influence isn't loud, it's earned. He becomes the anchor in chaos, the voice people seek when noise becomes unbearable. Not because he demanded that role, but because his stability qualifies him for it. He doesn't climb social ladders, he watches them collapse, then builds something better while others argue over the ruins. And here's the twist. The fact that he doesn't need control is the exact reason he can be trusted with it. He has nothing to prove, no ego to inflate, no crowd to impress. That absence of need makes him incorruptible. It's why power flows to him, quietly, gradually, without a fight. Because in the end, the world doesn't want another man obsessed with dominance. It wants the one who can hold power without being owned by it. And that's the Sigma's final advantage. He didn't chase the crown. It found him. Number 7. He sees through facades instantly. He sees through facades instantly because he's spent his whole life watching from the outside, where the masks slip, the performances glitch, and the truth leaks out in the smallest details. While most people are caught up in the noise of what's being said, the Sigma male is scanning everything else. The hesitation in your voice, the tension in your jaw, the way your smile doesn't quite reach your eyes. And the moment something doesn't align, he clocks it. Silently. Instantly. He's not reading vibes, he's decoding patterns. Years of observing people without needing to be the center of attention have sharpened his intuition into something surgical. He doesn't need receipts or proof. He reads the glitch before the lie finishes forming. That's why fake people feel uneasy around him. They sense it, that he sees straight through the image they're projecting, right into the insecurity behind it. But here's the part that really messes with people. He doesn't confront. He doesn't call you out. He just mentally files it away, marks you, adjusts accordingly, and moves with a quiet coldness that lets you know you've been exposed, not out loud, not with drama, just a subtle shift in energy that feels like a door closing, and you're not getting back in. People are so used to getting away with pretending that they don't know how to act around someone who can't be fooled. They over-explain, overperform, and dig themselves deeper into the very persona he's already seen through. It's not that he's judgmental, it's that he values authenticity too much to entertain anything less. If you're fake, he won't hate you. He'll just stop trusting anything that comes out of your mouth. That's what makes him dangerous in rooms full of masks. He doesn't need to shout, threaten, or expose you. He'll just know, and that knowing changes everything. Because once he sees through the act, there's no going back. You don't get a second shot at fooling someone who saw you clearly the first time. Number 8. He's untraceable psychologically. He's untraceable psychologically because he doesn't fit into any of the tidy little boxes people use to feel in control. Try to label him: introvert, extrovert, dominant, passive, thinker, feeler, and he'll behave just enough like that label until you think you've got him figured out. Then he flips the script. Not out of deception, but because his mind isn't built to live in one mode. He contains contradictions, and he's completely comfortable with that. Most people aren't. He's a shapeshifter in the most unnerving way, genuine in every version, yet impossible to pin down. One day, he's withdrawn and unreadable. The next, he's disarming with charm and wit. Sometimes he leads from the front with laser precision. Other times, he dissolves into the background like a ghost. This throws people off, because we're conditioned to believe that consistent behavior equals trustworthiness. But with the Sigma male, consistency lies in his fluidity, not in predictable habits, but in a stable sense of internal freedom. This is why therapists, manipulators, and analysts struggle with him. There's no clear pattern, no reliable trigger, no emotionally exposed area to exploit. He can be warm, cold, curious, distant, humorous, stoic, all within the same conversation, and not one of those shifts is fake. It's all real. It's all him. And that complexity makes profiling him a psychological dead end. The truth is, the Sigma doesn't live behind a mask. He lives behind layers. Each one is real, each one serves a purpose, and none of them are easily accessible. You have to earn access, and even then, you'll only get what he wants to reveal. That frustrates people who crave predictability, because they can't control what they can't categorize. They want to know what version of him they're dealing with. But with the Sigma, that version changes based on environment, energy, and instinct. He's not static, he's adaptive, and the most unnerving part, he's not trying to be mysterious, he's just being whole. In a world that demands people pick a single identity and stick to it, the Sigma male's psychological depth makes him feel like an unsolvable puzzle. Not because he's hiding, but because he refuses to shrink into something simple. Number 9. He doesn't seek revenge. He evolves past you. He does not seek revenge because he sees it as a waste of time, energy, and focus. While most people stew in bitterness, crafting plans to get even, the Sigma male is already turning that pain into fuel. He is not interested in proving a point to you. He is interested in becoming someone so evolved, so distant from the version you tried to harm, that your actions feel like a bad memory, irrelevant, powerless, and small. You might expect anger, silence, maybe even retaliation, but what you get is far worse: indifference. The kind of indifference that cuts deeper than rage, because instead of coming after you, he disappears from your emotional radar completely. No responses, no acknowledgement, just growth. Quiet, sharp, undeniable growth. You watch him build, move forward, thrive, without needing your apology or attention. That is what makes it unbearable for some people. They expected chaos, a fight, some reaction to prove they still mattered. But the Sigma gives them nothing, and that nothing is loud. It says, "You no longer exist in my world." That is not revenge, that is evolution. That is the kind of punishment you cannot argue with, defend against, or undo. People who wrong a Sigma often learn this the hard way. He does not try to hurt you back. He becomes someone you no longer have access to, emotionally, mentally, or energetically. His success becomes the mirror you are forced to look into. And in that reflection, you realize you had a chance to be part of something rare, but you blew it. And now you are watching from outside the gates, with no key, no map, and no second chance. This is the Sigma's power. He does not sink to your level. He rises so far above it that your entire attempt to wound him becomes meaningless. He lets time deliver the truth. And by the time you understand what you lost, he has already transformed into someone even better, untouchable, unbothered, and completely out of your reach. Number 10. He exploits chaos while others freeze. He exploits chaos while others freeze because instability doesn't scare him. It sharpens him. While most people panic when things fall apart, the Sigma male becomes more focused. He doesn't crumble under pressure. He calibrates. When society is shaking, when systems are failing, when relationships are burning to the ground, he doesn't look for someone to save him. He becomes the one who rewrites the entire blueprint. This is where his true advantage kicks in. He doesn't rely on structure to function. He never fully trusted the system in the first place. So when it collapses, he's already mentally detached from it, already planning what to build next. While others cling to the old ways and wait for direction, he moves with quiet efficiency, making moves that no one else sees coming. He doesn't react emotionally to disorder. He studies it. He looks at where people are falling apart, where the cracks are showing and where power is leaking. And then he moves in, not to fix it for applause, but to restructure it in a way that serves him. That's what makes him dangerous in moments of crisis. While everyone else is paralyzed by fear, confusion, or indecision, he's calm, calculating, and 2 steps ahead. The truth is, most people aren't built for chaos. They rely on predictability to survive. But the Sigma male trains in unpredictability. He thrives when the rules are gone, when the masks fall off, and when everyone else is too busy losing their minds to think clearly. He sees opportunity in collapse, not in a selfish way, but in a strategic one. While others are screaming for stability, he's already building something new from the wreckage. That's why when the dust settles, he's not just standing, he's leading. Not because he wanted power, but because everyone else either froze, failed, or followed. In chaos, the real ones are revealed. And the Sigma, he doesn't just survive disorder. He rises from it, stronger, sharper, and far more unstoppable than he was before everything fell apart. Number 11. He triggers without trying. He triggers without trying because his very presence challenges the structure most people rely on to feel important. He is not loud. He is not trying to prove anything. He is not even competing. But the way he carries himself, calm, unaffected, fully grounded, makes people uncomfortable, especially those who depend on approval, group validation, or artificial status to hold their sense of worth together. The Sigma male doesn't play by the social script. He doesn't chase compliments. He doesn't seek followers. He doesn't adjust himself to fit in. And that independence alone shakes people. Because in a world where most are performing some version of who they think they need to be, someone who shows up fully self-contained feels like a threat. Not because he attacks, but because he exposes. People who base their identity on being needed, praised, or obeyed cannot stand someone who doesn't respond to those hooks. The Sigma does not fawn over power. He does not react to dominance displays. He does not chase inclusion. That makes him unreadable, and what people cannot read, they often fear. Not because he is doing anything wrong, but because his presence highlights everything they are doing for the wrong reasons. He triggers the insecure alpha because he does not validate his authority. He triggers the social climber because he is not impressed by status. He triggers the people-pleaser because he is not afraid to walk away. Without even opening his mouth, he becomes a mirror that reflects the truth people work hard to bury, that they are performing, that they are fragile, that they need attention, and he does not. What bothers them most is the realization that he is not trying to win the game, they are. But the Sigma's refusal to play makes the whole game feel foolish. That is why he draws tension in rooms without saying a word. He does not demand power, yet people feel like they are losing theirs when he enters. Because deep down they know the truth. He is the only one there who does not need validation, control, or approval. And that makes him the one person they cannot control. Number 12. He's already 10 moves ahead, and you'll never know it. He's already 10 moves ahead because he never thinks in straight lines. While most people are busy reacting to what's happening right now, caught up in emotions, distractions, or surface-level goals, the Sigma male is quietly thinking several layers deeper. He's not planning for next week. He's already visualized how the end game plays out, and he's moving accordingly. You might think you're dealing with him in the moment, but what you don't realize is he's not there anymore. He's operating from the future. He doesn't waste time trying to win small battles. He's watching patterns, reading behavior, identifying weaknesses, and mapping outcomes in silence. Every move he makes looks simple, even passive, but it's built on strategy most people wouldn't notice until it's too late. That's what makes him dangerous. You think you've cornered him? He wanted you to. You think you've outsmarted him? You've just stepped into the space he's already abandoned. He doesn't play for attention. He plays for leverage. While others try to dominate conversations, steal the spotlight, or win quick points, he's quietly setting up dominoes that fall exactly when he needs them to. And when they do, he doesn't stick around to take credit. He's already onto the next board, the next problem, the next structure to dismantle or rebuild. That's the unnerving part. He's never where you think he is. By the time people realize they've been playing checkers, he's already finished his chess game and walked off with the queen. And he won't explain how he did it. That's the beauty of his strategy. He moves without noise, succeeds without spectacle, and vanishes without warning. There's no trail to follow, no clues to trace, just the unsettling realization that you never stood a chance. Not because you weren't smart, but because you were playing on level 2 while he was rewriting level 10. He's not in it for the win. He's in it for the long, quiet dominance that doesn't require applause, just results. The Sigma male is not just different. He's a quiet storm in a world addicted to noise. While others compete for recognition, he refines himself in silence. While they chase status, he dismantles systems. He doesn't fight for control because he already commands what truly matters, his mind, his time, and his purpose. The world calls him cold, distant, unpredictable. But what he really is free, immune to manipulation, untouchable by chaos, invisible to those who only see surface. Every move he makes is intentional. Every silence is loaded. Every step calculated. He doesn't need to dominate the room because he is the room's gravity. He bends structures without asking. He triggers egos without effort. He walks away from drama without flinching. And when he finally acts, the impact is surgical, precise, clean, and irreversible. The Sigma male's unfair advantages don't come from noise or numbers. They come from discipline, detachment, and depth. He doesn't want your throne. He doesn't want your applause. He wants truth. And he'll walk through fire alone to get it, then vanish before anyone realizes what just happened. Now, if that left you stunned, intrigued, or just hungry for more brutal truth about Sigma psychology, do us a favor. Smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who thinks they've figured people out, because the Sigma male proves every time that the real power moves are made in silence. If you found this eye-opening, if the Sigma mindset hit something deep, or if it shattered the way you see power, then don't just scroll away. Take a second and support the mission. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a single drop of raw, unfiltered truth. Like the video to let us know you value content that cuts through the noise. Drop a comment below. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to add your own insight, we want to hear it. And most importantly, share this with someone who's ready to stop performing and start evolving. This is not just content, it's a mindset shift. And if you're part of that 1% who gets it, help us grow the tribe that moves in silence and dominates without needing to be seen.